Welcome to the Hello Sunday podcast with me, Nikki Hayden. This is the podcast that discusses everything self-development, spirituality and sobriety, and it wouldn't be me without a little sprinkling of humour. Whether you are just starting out on your journey of self-development or have been exploring these topics for years, are completely alcohol-free or just curious about living a more sober lifestyle, this is the podcast for you. Each week, I'll be exploring topics in both solo episodes and with some amazing guest experts. So if you like what you hear, then please subscribe, rate and review. So with that said, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Hello Sunday. How are we all? Have we all had a good week? I was going to say, how are we wintering? But it's not actually winter yet in the UK, is it? I think it feels like it because the temperature has definitely dropped now. Although we've had absolutely glorious weather this week. Well, mostly sunny, dry, that gorgeous autumnal weather that I romanticise every year. And then it pisses it down for the first 2 weeks of autumn. And I question why I love this season, but no, it's been autumning, it's been crisp, it's been dry. We've had some little bits of sunshine in the UK, so I hope that you're all enjoying the transition. And if you're listening to this in real time, so on the Sunday that this comes out, then our clocks have also gone back, haven't they? So to anyone without kids, I hope you enjoyed your extra hour, your luxuriating, your extra hour, technically in bed, but I'm guessing most people probably don't use it in bed. Anyone with kids, I'm sending love and prayers to you all because I know that kids don't know the freaking difference between the clocks being forward, back, whatever, and they don't give a shit about that, do they? They just get up when they get up. So if your kid's normally a 6 a.m. riser, then I'm imagining this morning you had a lovely, nice 5 a.m. wake-up call, which, not for me. I don't think I'd be a very nice person if I was made to get up at that time when it wasn't my own choice or wasn't like my natural body clock. But yeah, I'm sending love to any of you that have struggled. I know it takes a few days for them to like acclimatise and get used to it. So lots of coffee, lots of positive thinking and lots of biting your tongue. So before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to just update on a few little things my side. So there's a couple of changes that I've made to my daily habits, and some of them I'd started talking about previously and said that I'd keep you updated with how they've gone. So I'm going to do that. So the first thing is my the lion's mane mushrooms that I was taking. So you might recall I went to Happy Place and I'd wanted to try some lion's mane or some mushroom mix for like focus and the little bit of brain fog I was experiencing. Don't know whether it's like really early perimenopause or potentially just, a little bit of age kind of like affecting me. But anyway, there's definitely been a bit of a shift recently with not so much my energy levels, more my focus. But then if you're not focused on something and you're having to really think all day, it does drain your energy. So anyway, long story short, I bought some lion's mane from a really gorgeous little startup company called Dr. Fungi. Started taking that. I was taking it for 3 weeks. The effects were incredible. I'm not going to lie. The effects of it were like completely noticeable, like absolutely did a 180 on my focus. Was probably one of the most productive weeks of my life, the first week that I took it. However, for me, I think I've deduced that the lion's mane mix alone doesn't suit me at like those levels because it gave me really bad headaches, like really debilitating, couldn't focus or think type headaches. And they went like from the back of my head into my neck and I was waking up with them. So we had to stop that. I am thinking of potentially doing like maybe a mushroom mixed drink, maybe like something like Space Goods or one of the other brands that do like more of a mushroom blend, because it could have just been that level of lion's mane and I was taking less than the recommended dose, but it could just be that the strength of the blend with it just being pure lion's mane was maybe too much. So I'm kind of wanting to play around with that. I guess the only thing in the back of my mind is if it gives me the headaches again, like I just don't have time right now in my work life to like experience that. So maybe I'll do it in like the Christmas gooch. Maybe I'll do it at a time when I'm not particularly needing to be firing on all cylinders, although that kind of negates the reason for me doing it in the first place and like getting shit done. So we're going to toy around with that. But what I have been taking in the meantime is something called Brainzymes, which, not an ad, this isn't sponsored, anything like that, but I did some research online and I think wanting to stay away from the mushrooms because of the experience that I'd had being so recent, I looked at other stuff and these came really highly recommended. Now, they're not a mushroom mix, they're not, they're more like vitamins and minerals. So they do have low doses of certain supplements in them, but it's more of a B12, zinc, magnesium, that sort of stuff. And yeah, I mean, look, I wouldn't say that they've given me the complete like mental clarity, focus, like clear-minded, like absolutely laser focus that the mushroom mix did, but so far they've not given me any headaches and my energy levels are just a lot better. Like I could still at 5-6 o'clock in the evening do the same stuff that I could at 9 a.m. Like I could go and do a gym session if I wanted to, whereas without them my energy just wane like through the day, which is normal. So I'm going to keep taking those and then maybe we'll mess around or have a play around with mushroom blends. If anyone's got a good recommendation for a mushroom blend that maybe doesn't cost the earth, but is, working for you, that isn't just pure lion's mane, then hook your girl up, because I'm definitely keen to play around with this and find out what works. I just really don't want the headaches back. So that's the first thing I've changed in my routine. The second thing is visualization. So when I joined my business mentorship group, by the way, if anybody ever wants details on that, it is like a virtual group. You don't have to be in like Leeds or the West Yorkshire or anything like that to join. It's for business to business owners and founders. So anyone that has, like I work in recruitment, but there's people that are accountants to businesses. There are people that are, I've got a digital marketing agency, payroll agency. There's all sorts of different service-based business founders in there. So if anyone wants the details, then let me know, because it's absolutely incredible. Love it. But I went to a meeting with them. Well, I've done 3 now. We do them every quarter. One in January, one in April, and one I went to last week. And every single time we talk about visualizing your future, visualizing your goals, visualizing all areas. So like, how do you want to contribute? How do you want to be remembered? How do you want to, what sort of memories do you want to make? What do you want to achieve? And every time I get super fired up, and every time I come away and don't change my routine to accommodate the visualization, and I'll just do it as and when and kind of as I remember. So this time I thought, no, do you know what? I'm actually going to make a change. I'm going to do something every single day to incorporate visualization. Now, there are guided meditations out there that I love and that I do when I've got time. But to sit for 20 minutes in the morning, especially if it's a gym day, it's a lot. Like, I don't expect anybody to really have the time necessarily to do that unless you're like a super, super early riser. I am not. I say I'm not. I'm a morning person, but anything before 6:30 and it's the middle of the night to me. So I've been writing out in the notes on my phone, which takes probably like between 3 and 5 minutes every morning today, and I write it in the sense that it's already happened. So Today was a great day. I got up, I hydrated myself, I lit a candle and sat having a coffee whilst I journaled and visualised my day. Then this happened, then that happened. Then I had a great conversation with a friend. Then I had an amazing client meeting. You know, the sorts of things that you want to happen as if they've already happened, and then have the outcome, like the success, because then it focuses your mind on the outcome rather than just thinking about like, oh, I've got to go to the gym. You'll think about like, oh, I achieved a PB on my squats or my RDLs or whatever it might be that you're working on. Or if you're going for a run, I achieved, 10 seconds less on my 5K. Or if you're meeting a friend, like it was such a nice coffee, we really connected. I felt like I really energized them. We talked about our hopes and dreams for the future. Whatever you want to get out of those scenarios, you focus on it as if it's already happened. And that has just been a game changer. Like don't get me wrong, not everything always happens. There's days where I've wanted stuff to happen with clients and they've not come back to me, or it's not been the outcome that I've wanted. But it does focus your mind on what it is that you do want, and it helps you to put in place the things that you need to get there in the day rather than just focusing on like the to-do list. It actually does help to focus on, okay, so if I want that client meeting to be positive, what have I got to do? Like, have I prepared enough? Have I got enough, in my arsenal to handle their objections, rather than just going into it and kind of winging it a little bit. So that has been brilliant. And I just literally write it in the notes on my phone. And then at the end of the night, I'll look at what happened, what didn't. I also check in with my accountability group daily. So again, it's one of the things that you can opt into with the Unbound business group. So that is something that helps to keep me accountable. And I usually use the things on that accountability list to drive the visualization. So if it's like I've got 2 client meetings and I need a candidate to get back some signed paperwork, I'll include them in I had my 2 client meetings, I got this, it was such a great call, I felt really listened to, it's going to be an amazing partnership. And then to top it all off, I got the signed paperwork back. You get the drift. So those are my little updates. I think that's all really from my side. As I mentioned last week, weekends have been super quiet. This weekend that this goes out, we will actually have had a really lovely weekend. I've got 2 friends coming up from Birmingham for a few hours. We're going for lunch. And I've also got a friend's 40th birthday celebration as well. So still not drinking. So we'll be doing both of them sober. But I'm really, really looking forward to them. And by now they'll have happened. So if I was writing it in my visualization, I had an amazing, amazing day. So this week, wanted to talk about something that it's actually come up in a few different ways for me over the last few weeks. And normally when something comes up and I make a note of it, it's that reticular activating system, the RAS, isn't it? Then that kind of like notices it. And then I'll find myself going into the notes, the podcast section in the notes on my phone, to write down the idea for an episode, and it's already in there in like another way. And that is normally a really good indicator to me that, yeah, okay, this is something that not only has come up a few times, so I want to talk about, but if it's coming up for me, it's probably coming up for other people. And if it's not, then I can introduce it to you. And this isn't anything new. It's not something that's going to be groundbreaking. It's not a super scientific law of attraction or manifestation technique. But it is something that I just feel we need reminding of from time to time. And that is, life isn't a series of big occasions. Life isn't the big occasions that happen to you. That is a tiny part of life. Life is the everyday. Life is what is happening to link all of those big occasions. It's all of the day-to-day stuff. And I think so often we can get caught up in just waiting for one big occasion, waiting for that holiday, waiting for Christmas, waiting for a next big birthday, waiting for the job promotion, waiting for the birth of a child, that we forget that actually the stuff in between that are they are the more, what's the word? Like, that is life. Those are the times that are more abundant. They are the times that we have more of. Those linking days, the days that are just the day-to-day stuff. And I guess this is kind of like twofold. So it's a reminder that we shouldn't just be waiting to live life in the big moments, but it's also a reminder to make the most of every day and to almost like romanticize your life. Now, it's funny because when this first came up for me a few weeks ago, it was at a point where I just remember feeling and thinking, oh, I can't wait for Christmas this year. It's been such a challenging year in so many ways, and I can't wait for a break. I can't wait for I feel like I'm getting emotional, which is crazy. It's not an emotional topic. I think I'm just feeling emotional because it's been a year for me, and I think I've alluded to this, and I almost feel guilty saying this because it's not been, I've not lost anybody in my family. I mean, I have had to cut off a really, really important friendship, which I think has affected me way more than I realised. But, I've not lost anybody in my family. Nobody's passed away. We've actually had a really good year in terms of, health and people being here and with us. Like, we've still got my nan. She's 96, for fuck's sake. Like, that is wild. But it's just been really challenging in that there have been things that have happened to me, especially in business, which is probably one of the biggest self-development journeys I've had to go through. And it's really made me question my worth at times, which is crazy because I preach so much that you are not your job, you are not your relationship, you are not your weight. But it still crops up, it still happens. And I feel at times like I've taken one step forward to be knocked back 2 steps. That feeling like you're playing snakes and ladders and you like climb up the ladder and then you do 2 jumps and then you're back down the snake. That's how this year has felt a lot of the time. So I think there's part of me like maybe that just has been looking forward to Christmas because it's the only time of year where everybody shuts down pretty much for at least a few days, and I can kind of breathe and relax and know that nobody needs anything from me. And last year we had the most incredible trips. We went to Vegas before Christmas for our friend's wedding, and then on the 28th or 29th of December we went to Thailand, which was absolute trip for a lifetime. Couldn't have wanted for anything more. But it also meant we didn't get that like period of kind of real, relaxation and shutdown in the UK, which I really value and really enjoy. So I found myself the other day really looking forward to that. And it's fine to look forward to things, but I almost felt like I was treading water waiting to get to it. And I was just like, what are you doing? Like, why are you... Like, you've got today. That isn't even promised. That's something that's in the future, a couple of months away, that isn't even promised. And then we've got some lovely stuff happening in January because it's my mum's 70th, so I'm taking her away for a spa weekend. And then my husband's taking me to Paris for my 40th. So I was looking forward to all that stuff and completely overlooking the fact that there's like over 2 months until we get there. And there's so much life to live. So that happened. And then in the book club that I'm in, we also started a book about romanticising your life, which, if you're not familiar with the concept, it's about creating little moments in your day to, like, for example, your morning coffee, rather than like making a coffee, drinking it as you're rushing around, sit for 5 minutes. And if it's a nice morning, maybe sit outside or sit with the fairy lights on in your living room or a candle on and just really take in that moment. It's about slowing down. It's about not even necessarily slowing down, but just enjoying and savouring and taking note of those moments. And it's about, not keeping your best clothes for one day, not keeping your best plates and glasses just for guests, or not using the fancy towels, which seems like a really small thing, but it's about making the most of life every single day, because the moments that we've got now are life. Like that birthday celebration or that holiday or that Christmas period with your family will be amazing, moments. But actually, if you think back, like your core memories of childhood were probably playing with your siblings or being at school or doing stuff with your best mates. Mine are playing in the woods opposite my parents' house. Yes, we had some incredible holidays and Christmases and big stuff, but that isn't the stuff that comes to mind when people say to me, like, how was your childhood? It's the everyday stuff. It's the moments that my mum would put me to bed and like read stories to me. It was staying at my nan's house and having a little hot water bottle in bed and a hot milk. It was picking the apples out of my nan's garden. All that stuff that was just day to day. And I just feel sometimes, especially in the current times that we live in, where life is so busy and we are so available and so switched on all the time due to our mobile phones and emails and text messages and social media and, being constantly available to people, that we don't necessarily live in the moment. And that is such a throwaway sort of phrase, live in the moment. And I don't think sometimes that we really understand what it means and relate to it. But actually, and it's quite a morbid thing to say, but we're not promised those things that we're looking forward to. Like, if they never happened, how would we feel about how we're living today? Like, would we regret not using the best stuff, or not wearing your nice clothes, or not eating that nice meal? Somebody in my industry who I didn't know very well at all, but they were a little bit kind of like LinkedIn famous. They owned a technology company that supports the recruitment industry. They're a big personality. He was like, I think 40 maybe. And he had a motorbike accident and died really suddenly. This was not long ago, like in the summer. And when I heard that news, I was just like absolutely shocked to my core, because he got young kids, he got a wife, he was at the pinnacle of his career as the founder of a business that was booming. He was such a big personality and people loved him, and he was just gone. For those of you that are regular listeners to the show, or maybe you know me personally, you won't have been able to get away without hearing me talk about Simprove. Simprove is a scientifically backed, water-based probiotic drink. You drink it daily and it has been scientifically proven to help with things like bloating, IBS symptoms, pain. It was actually a dietitian friend of mine that introduced it to me last year, and I honestly wouldn't be without it now. It's helped with my energy, with my bloating, it's helped with my immune system, and also things like my skin. The list is honestly endless. Now, I have got a code for you. So if you'd like to try Simprove, you can get 50%, that's a massive 50% off your first 3 month subscription by going on to simprove.com and putting in the code Nikki50. That's NIKKI50, or clicking the link in the show notes. And it just made me think, with all the stuff that's happened recently and the Liam Payne, really sad news about Liam Payne's passing. And I just think, like, if those people could come back and speak, what stuff would they say? What would they have regretted not doing? What would they have regretted not making the most of? What things would they have wished that they'd have said to people? Are there things that they wanted to do in life that they were putting off for like someday? And don't get me wrong, like I'm in a period at the moment with my husband where we're saving to move to the next house. And you can't do everything at once, right? If you're saving for something, unless you are able to financially, it's normally a choice between saving or going on the big holidays, or saving and going out for nice meals every weekend. You normally can't do both, it's priorities. That isn't the stuff that I'm talking about. You've got to prioritize certain things. The stuff that I'm talking about is just making the most of the smaller moments in your day. Maybe doing your hair just because, or wearing a nicer outfit, or taking time to drink your coffee in the morning, or making a dinner date with your best friend or your partner or one of your family members, just because, don't wait for their birthday to spend time with them. And I think for me, this has just been so poignant lately, because this year has felt more than ever, for a number of reasons. Like, I've been really just going through the motions and ticking things off. Part of that reason has been because the market has been challenging and business has been a lot more challenging, and I've had to just show up every day, put in the reps and be consistent. And some of that has been because I've been setting myself goals, and I've joined accountability groups, I had a fitness coach. So there was a lot of, especially the first half of the year, where I was having to literally tick things off just to get them done, just to remain consistent. And I feel like for that part of the year, I definitely didn't embrace this stuff. I definitely was just putting on the same clothes every day. Not the same clothes, that's gross, but the same, leggings and a jumper, or leggings and a crop top if it was summer, and not really wearing the nice stuff. There was stuff in my wardrobe that I literally looked at and thought, oh my gosh, we've just come out of spring, summer, I've not worn that, and that's not going to come out now until next year. Because I just had been going through the motions, and had my life have ended at the end of summer, there would have been so much stuff this year that I would have been so sad that I didn't do. I'd put off meetings with friends, not been going out, not really been doing stuff, all in the name of hitting goals, which is fine. But actually, you've got to live your life as well. You've got to have those moments of real just gorgeousness in every single day. If you go to bed at night and you can't remember one really lovely thing that happened that day, whether it was just a hug with your partner, or a conversation with a friend, or whether it was a walk that you went on, or 15 minutes that you spent playing with your dog or your kids, if you go to bed at night and you can't think of one thing like that, then I would urge you to just have a look at what it is that you're doing with your day-to-day. Like, is it just rinse and repeat? And don't get me wrong, there's going to be times, I've got friends that are in the depths of early motherhood at the moment. Kids need routine. There's certain things you've got to do. I'm not saying every day should be like a freaking, rom-com, and actually that's a point. There is a film that Rebel Wilson's in. I can't remember the title of it. It's got the word romance in it. I will Google it and put it in the show notes. And she literally romanticizes every single area of her life. And the first time I watched it, for the first sort of half an hour, I was like, this film's a bit crap. What? I don't really get it. And now I've seen it again. I'm like, oh yeah, now I understand it. It's just about those little glimmers, those little moments, those little, just making the most of every moment. And yeah, like I was saying, I know if you're in the depths of like motherhood, or starting a business, or you're on a fitness journey, there's certain things you have to do. There's reps you have to take. There's routine. But there's also really lovely opportunities every day to just create those moments. Even if it is just wearing a nicer outfit, or walking to the school gates on a nice day, creating those those day-to-day moments, because that's life. That is life. We are living it right now, and it will be littered with, wonderful big moments, the big occasions, the memories, the stuff that's in your photo roll. But take the pictures today as well. I actually looked through, I was making like a little pot in one of my bank accounts. I've got a bank account where you can like split things off and make little savings pots, and I always put little photos or pictures on the like on the pot to represent what it is. So, you know, if it's a spa weekend, I'll put a nice picture of a massage, or for our next house, we've got a picture of our dream house. And I was looking for a picture of me and my husband to do a savings pot for his Christmas present. And we didn't have that many Christmas pictures together. Like, I'd got pictures of Christmas trees and my nephews and, you know, random stuff from the Christmas market. And that made me really sad, because we've spent 5 Christmases together now. And this will be our 6th. And we've hardly got any Christmas pictures together. And I just felt really sad about that. You can't go back and take those pictures again. And that was a big occasion. So if I'm not taking pictures of that, I'm definitely not taking pictures of the day-to-day. So what can you do? What areas or moments in your life can you upgrade, romanticize? Where do you find yourself holding back and, you know, waiting for that next big occasion? Or, you know, is it a case of, I'm not going to wear that because I'm waiting for something to wear it for? Have you got, you know, the nice coffee that you just save for when guests come round? Have you got the nice bedding that you only use for guests, or things that you don't wear? Like, what are the things that you are not romanticizing or not making the most of? Where are you just going through the motions and through the routine, where maybe you could upgrade things a little and just take a bit of a different perspective? So that is all from me today. I would love to hear from you on this. Like, if there's things that are coming to mind or that you are going to focus on, let me know. I honestly love hearing from you, and especially when it's feedback on episodes or ideas for stuff that we can talk about on future episodes. As always, please do follow, share, rate, all of that good stuff. It's slowed down a bit again. We did have a couple of weeks there where I had a few more 5-star ratings and shares and stuff, but it's definitely slowed down again. So please do all of that good stuff. I know I'm like a broken record, but never going to stop saying it, because that is, you guys are the only way that I get this to anyone, in front of anyone. So thank you so much for listening, and I will be in your ears again next Sunday. Thanks for listening. You can find us on Instagram at HelloSundayPod, or you can email us on hellosundaypod@outlook.com. Have a great week.